Each month, the Emmen Team gets together to pick games they are looking forward to. Hey folks, Mika here from the land not on most food maps. And here are our picks for March.
Hey, listen!
Believe it or not, it's actually a great time to be a tactical RPG fan. We've experienced some old classics being revived and raised to modern standards, along with seeing some new contenders step onto the battlefild. Vanillaware is not a developer I was familiar with until I heard about their newest game, Unicorn Overlord, a tactical RPG set in a medieval-themed world. But since the announcement trailer, I've been falling deeper and deeper into the Vanillaware rabbit hole. I learned about their previous games Odin's Spear, Burmaster the Demon Blade, Dragon's Crown, and 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Despite the different genres the devs dabbled in, each game was a certified banger in some way, each of them set in a beautifully crafted world with interesting characters and an engaging story. And now they are about to take on my favorite genre of all time. We're about to get a game with the signature art style of Vanillaware along with their love for engaging stories in a TRPG. On top of that, the battle mechanics let you control large groups of units as well as manage small-scale encounters. Building up and fitting all those characters with good gear is probably going to take time. A lot of it. Luckily, I'm into that stuff. This game is stepping into a battlefield with genre classics like FF Tactics, the Fire Emblem games, and Tactics Ogre. I hope it can stand shoulder to shoulder with these giants and carve out a piece of the TRPG genre for itself. Team Ninja is a developer that once grabbed my undivided attention before earning my keen interest. I was thoroughly sold on their Neo series, with Neo 2 being a particular favorite. Both games offered fast-paced Souls-like combat, a positively rewarding loot grinding system, and lots of options for build crafting or power builds. I loved all of these things. Rise of the Ronin caught my eye from the first trailer. It showed fast-paced combat in a Japanese setting, it showed engaging movement mechanics, it shows us what happens when you bring a gun to a sword duel. And to me personally, it was a clear sign that the patented combat mechanics Team Ninja had been refining since Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox was about to show us its next evolution. This game looks to be more historical than their previous outings. It is set in the Bakumatsu period of Japan and will feature an open and explorable version of Japan with locations like Yokohama, Kyoto, and Edo. It is also notably an open-world co-op game. On the combat side of things, I saw a sword, I saw a spear, and some early firearms as options. The trailer also showed how elements like fire can be coated on the blade for some extra damage. Team Ninja has also said that the combat of the game will revolve around studying and learning enemy patterns, which happens to be one of my favorite pastimes. Team Ninja truly cooked with Neo and Neo 2, so I'm looking forward to enjoying another full-course meal of skill-based combat, character-building mechanics, and an interesting story when Rise of the Ronin comes out later this month. I grew up playing third-person survival horror games. I was there when the broken radio started making noise in the fog. I was there when the twin got lost in the haunted village for the umpteenth time. I was there when Raccoon City was nuked. I was there, Gandalf. So, when I heard that the Alone in the Dark series was making a comeback with a reimagining, I was interested. The series had always existed in the periphery of my game list. I knew it by name, but the reviews of the titles that were out at the time kept me away. In fact, the last time I checked on the series, it was 2015's Alone in the Dark Illumination, a game where you're neither alone or in the dark. Guys, it's literally in the name.
Huh?
And now, Pieces Interactive is taking their crack at it. According to my research, the game is being written by Michael Hedberg, who worked on fictional games Soma and Amnesia: The Dark Descent. The artist, Guy Davis, has worked with Hollywood horror master Guillermo del Toro. Heck, the series creator Frederick Reynolds has given the game his blessing, saying the team did a great job preserving the core feeling from the original game. As someone who only knew the series by reputation and genuinely wants it to succeed, I can't help but feel excited. Could this finally be the return of this influential series? Am I finally gonna get to experience what it's all about? Will I finally feel the fear of being alone in the dark?
Psst. Psst. Yes, I'm speaking to you. The new kid to you. What makes you go to school? Have you not heard that they called it off due to the snow? It's obvious to you what that means. It's snow day.
South Park Snow Day follows the South Park tradition of kids taking their games far too seriously. In one winter day, it seems like the kids of South Park have transformed their town into a violent and explosive war zone, at least in their imagination. I noticed in the teasers that the kids would reprise their fantasy characters from South Park, The Stick of Truth. Grand Wizard King Cartman has been informed of a great assault by the elves, led by their king, Kyle. Cartman assigns the new kid with eliminating the elves before they kill us all. Each entry in the series has experimented with various combat systems. It started with turn-based combat and subsequently transitioned to tactical turn-based combat ? The latest one, however, is an action game. What stands out to me is that unlike its two predecessors, this game features 3D gameplay, as well as a co-op multiplayer mode, where up to 3 additional players can join the game. I'm looking forward to seeing how far their imagination will go, as well as all these South Park jokes. You know they're coming.
Beep. I cast a spell. Your health is back to 100. Get up. God, I have to do everything around here.
The original Dragon's Dogma remains as one of my favorite games of all time. A diamond in the rough, if you will. It took a while, but a lot of people have begun to appreciate the game for its strengths and its flaws. Dragon's Dogma II then seems to be focused on correcting these flaws and polishing its strengths. In fact, the story this time around is a retread of the original, set in an alternate timeline, so you can jump in pretty easily. Like before, you are the Arisen, a player-created character whose heart has been eaten by a dragon and is now on a quest to retrieve it. And like before, you are tangled in various political groups and factions vying for your aid, power, and maybe subservience. Unlike before, the game seems to be focusing a lot on making the story elements engaging, a flaw of the original. It's the same for gameplay. The open world has been made larger with more encounters and systems. We're getting even more boss-type monsters like the Sphinx and the Dullahan. The combat, arguably the most appealing part of our original Diamond, is also being polished. Most of the original classes make a return, all altered to make it more unique and fun to play into the fantasy of said class. Not only that, we're getting new ones, such as the Trickster focusing on debuffs and buffs, the Mystic Spearhand which dual-wields spears, and even a class which can shift between all styles of play as the Warfarer. And let's not forget the most unique system of Dragon's Dogma, the Pawn system, a character-created AI companion who you can then send to an adventure with other players or recruit pawns from other players yourself. And these pawns, apart from fulfilling a combat role, might even come with knowledge of quest item, enemy weaknesses, unique skills such as translation, and likely a lot of repeatable dialogue. Dragon's Dogma II aims to improve upon its predecessor, but even if it doesn't, there are very few games which I can easily say I will enjoy regardless of its imperfections. And those are our picks for March. Give us a like and subscribe if some of them align with yours. But hey, before you run off, here are some bonus picks for the month. Princess Peach Showtime. I always say this about Mario games, the majority of them always tend to experiment with their formula. What that formula is for Showtime, I can't quite say. It's most accurate to say it's a 3D platform adventure, with the adventure happening on a theater stage. A group called the Sour Bunch and their leader have taken over this theater, and it's up to Peach, with the powers granted to her by her friend Stella, to transform into the many different roles, granting her different powers and abilities to save the show. It might not be that grimdark fantasy you're looking for, but it looks like it's a fun time with friends and family. Outcast: A New Beginning. I consider myself a fan of RPGs, but Outcast was one of those which passed under my radar completely, which is kind of a shame because this game seems to be taking a crack at everything most people dislike about the general flow of gameplay in current AAA titles, based on open worlds at least. Along with the more world-weary protagonist who's not afraid to call out NPCs on their nonsense, there is a more interconnected world where little things and systems play into each other. Well, there is combat. It's really how all these systems interconnect and the world in large, all the people, the creatures, and the discoveries which has caught our attention. Bulwark: The Falconeer Chronicles. Here at Emmen Gaming, we like our simulation games. Bulwark: The Falconeer Chronicles by solo developer Thomas Sala is a city builder set in an open world composed largely of water. Your aim is to, well, build a bulwark, a bastion of civilization on these little outcroppings which you yourself fly around on the map to first find. Much of the creation and building is very dynamic, with you just deciding what to build, the direction and material used, with the game generating much of how it looks. Eventually, you build up your settlement, assign captains to fortifications, begin trade, defend yourself, and ideally make peace, not war. Planet Zoo, the console edition. This one's for all you Zoo Tycoon fans. Planet Zoo is finally getting a console edition, though unfortunately it is up for the next gen lineup. Like most simulation games, you're given a franchise mode to teach you the mechanics and a free building mode to make the zoo of your dreams. Considering the time of its original release, it's kind of surprising that this is still getting updates even now. It goes to show that, well, we all really just like building and managing the stuff of our dreams, and then unleashing them onto unsuspecting crowds of visitors. Outpost Infinity Siege. Don't let the footage fool you. This game is more than just a shooter. Infinity Siege is perhaps best described as an RTS slash horde survival game slash shooter all in one. You begin by shoring up your defenses and laying down traps for the incoming attack. Once your enemies drop in from above, you can then go straight into first person. Move around the area with your grappling hook, trigger traps, get on heavy machinery yourself, and even get into mechs to aid in the fight. If a shooter is gonna try and innovate on its formula by taking a leaf out of other genres, I'm all for it. And those are our picks for March. Subscribe to our channel if you're looking forward to more news of upcoming games. And hey, if those picks aren't on your list for March, let us know what you're gonna play in the comments below. I'm Mika, and here's me signing off.